From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Cameroon troops neutralized 20 terrorists, seized 5 gun trucks in Borno. People's Democratic Party asked Federal High Court to remove Governor Matawalle and order swearing of Mahadi Gusau as Governor of Zamfara State. Tanker explosion on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway kills many. And on the foreign scene, over 250 people are forced to flee their homes after Mount Merapi erupt on Thursday in Indonesia. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. Terrorists in 5 gun trucks were intercepted by the Cameroonian troops at a border crossing into Nigeria, killing over 20 insurgents and recovering 20 gun trucks. Reports say the incident took place at Amchide village around Bama local government area of Borno State. The insurgents were intercepted by Cameroonian troops under the Multinational Joint Task Force on Wednesday, while some of them fled with gunshot wounds. In another development, a reported clash between the Islamic State for West Africa province, ISWAP, and Boko Haram faction left 9 dead. According to reports, the incident, which occurred in Abadam local government area of Borno State, is coming barely 48 hours after a clash by the groups left 30 dead in Dikwa town, about 100 kilometers from Maiduguri. The ISWAP faction is said to have ambushed the rival group Boko Haram at Yaumawango village, where they engaged each other in a deadly shootout. Meanwhile, stakeholders in Borno State want the federal government to adopt policies that will facilitate complete surrender of insurgents in the northeast. They also recommend improved funding to meet up the expectations of both victims and repentant fighters. This, among other things, were made at a public dialogue titled Reconstruction and Reintegration as a means to enhancing sustainable peace and security in Borno State, convened by the Peace Ambassador Center for Humanitarian Aid and Empowerment. The report.
Beside the massive destructions and loss of lives, the havocs of insurgency has destabilized peace and sparked fears and tensions in the entire northeast. The 13 years conflict has seen continuous security operations that had resulted to surrender of some terrorists in Borno State. This ongoing development has already prompted the call for rehabilitation and integration of these fighters to the society. The gathering of stakeholders is to come up with homegrown policies and practice change that will complement and support the efforts of the government in ensuring effective, efficient and sustainable reconstruction and reintegration process in Borno State.
The theater on its part will continue to ensure that a stable environment is put in place so that what the special advisor to the governor said, the state will have a sustainable peace where each and everybody can move about his lawful activities.
When people say they will integrate ex-combatant to this community, they feel somehow. But when you go to the same corridor, you will see how those people have been radicalized. There is a process. So we are witnesses. So this thing should be advocated out.
We need modern policy formulation techniques where we see our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, our threats in SWOT analysis, and to carry along the traditional institution, because it has to be a bottom-up approach.
After a concluded dialogue and paper presentations, the Peace Ambassador Center for Humanitarian Aid and Empowerment in its communique wants a community sensitization on acceptance of defectors as well as improve resources that will satisfy insurgent victims and defectors.
We want the government to employ the best practices that is happening in other countries. The best practices is you don't only empower the perpetrator and they leave the victim. The international standard is 1 to 3. When you empower 1 repentant, you empower 3 members of the community, or you now rebuild community so that it will serve as a healing process.
It is hoped that if the resolutions are implemented, it will curb risks and vulnerability and most especially build resilience and sustain peace in the northeast.
And Kebbi State Deputy Governor Samaila Yombi says he escaped bandits' attack in Kanyawaji district of Donk-Owasagu local government area, but not kidnapped as rumored. The Deputy Governor, retired Army Colonel, regularly visits the area to monitor military operations tackling banditry. Recounting his ordeal to newsmen in Birnin Kebbi, he said the encounter with the bandits could have been catastrophic if it had not been for divine providence and professionalism displayed by the military.
We can see you at home now.
that was a big joke. Honestly, the closest any bandit had gotten to me is the range of 600 meters or more in terms of contact militarily. I am at home, as you can see, health and healthy, alhamdulillah. There was no threat apart from, yes, I've been shot at, and that is a different thing. But for a bandit to hold me captive, that's not even in a dream. My thanks go to Allah for that. We saw them in thousands of them, but I can assure you that there was nothing close to that. There was nothing like that. As for being shot at, that has happened many times before. But for anybody like bandit to say, I mean, that is frivolous. That's not all.
That's right. So you are calling on people to disregard that statement.
I mean, that is funny. I mean, people should not believe what others say. A lot of people nowadays want to say something that they think people would like to hear. Oh yeah, the deputy governor has been captured by bandits. My goodness, the bandits will be looking for millions. No, I'm as free as a bird.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Tell everybody that.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
That's okay.
A security aide attached to the Deputy Governor, ASP Idris Umar, and 18 military operatives were killed during the encounter. The House of Representatives has condemned the unending terrorist attacks and gruesome killings by bandits in Benue communities. This followed a House resolution and the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance by a member, Bem Mzondu, on the floor of the House at Thursday's plenary. Mzondu called on the urgent need to stop the renewed terrorist attacks in Benue communities in Guma, Makurdi and Gwe West local government area of the state. According to the lawmaker, in a recent attack on the 7th of March, 5 persons were gruesomely killed, with several severely injured. He urged the Nigerian Army, police and other security agencies to ensure the enforcement of the proscription order as published in the official Gazette 108.
Concerned that the suspicion and collusion of the connivance of the Nigerian Army and other security agencies in the attack, as an army unit is said to be stationed at Teyode, a settlement of less than 5 kilometers from Ahense, where the invading herdsmen and bandits operated for more than 2 hours without any intervention from any security agency. Cognizant that the notice of proscription order, as contained in the Federal Republic of Nigeria Official Gazette dated 29 September 2021, Volume 108, on the activities of Yan Bidiga Group, Yan Tada Group, and other similar armed wielding groups in Nigeria are declared to be terrorists and illegal in any part of Nigeria, especially in the northwest and in the north-central region of Nigeria, are proscribed pursuant to Section 1 and 2 of the Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011. Again, aware of the provision of the Official Gazette that any person or group of persons participating in any manner whatsoever in any form of activities involving or concerning the proscription of collective intentions or otherwise of groups referred to in paragraph 1 of this notice will be violating the provisions of the Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011 and liable to prosecution.
And now to judicial matters, where Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed April 7th for hearing of the suit seeking the removal of Governor Bello Matawalli of Zamfara State by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, over his defection. Justice Inyang Ekwo on Thursday fixed the suit following an application for joinder and the submissions of lawyers in the matter. The lawyers to the defendants, led by Mike Ezechome, also sought for an extension of time to file their responses to the matter. In the application, the PDP asked the court to declare the impeached Deputy Governor Mahdi Gusau as the duly elected governor of Zamfara State. PDP is also asking the court to sack about 37 members of the National Assembly and State Assembly who defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. Meanwhile, in the originating summons by its lawyer, Emmanuel Ukala, PDP is seeking a declaration that sequel to the Supreme Court judgment of 2019 in APC and another senator, Kabiru Marafa, and 179 others, only members of the PDP, including Matawalli, then, were entitled to hold the office of governor and deputy governor or member of the Zamfara State House of Assembly. And a PDP member from House of Representatives from Ebonyi State, Iduma Igariwe, is asking the sacked governor, David Umahi, and his deputy, Eric Igwe, to vacate office and stop parading themselves as governor and deputy governor. Igariwe made the call while briefing journalists on Thursday in Abuja, following the continued stay in office by Governor Umahi and his deputy, 2 days after the court judgment removing them from office. The lawmaker is nominated by the PDP to replace Umahi. He called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to issue him certificate of return to enable them assume office as governor.
So the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee to take a look at such a conduct because it is professionally not proper. And then the judge who sat in that judgment is already going to answer before the National Judicial Council for misconduct also. So it's a situation where Ebonyi State government, led by Mr. Umahi, in anticipation of this judgment, went behind. I'm talking of, you can imagine in Nigeria where you file a case, within 1 month that case is already gone through the process and judgment delivered. It doesn't happen now. So that was what happened in Abakaliki. They didn't just do that in that case. We have other cases we have filed against Umahi and the Ebonyi State government. They have also come to clone those same cases here in Abuja, to still go and file them. There is one they filed at Ohupu High Court. There's another one they filed at Afikpo High Court. These are all in anticipation of judgment of cases that are lying legitimately bona fide before courts here in Abuja. That's what the Ebonyi State government is doing, which is most reprehensible and should be condemned.
And talking politics now, acting national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, Thursday denies receiving a letter for temporary transfer of power from the embattled governor of Yobe State, Mai Mala Buni. Bello speaks to journalists at the party's national secretariat after a closed-door session. He, however, declined to make a categorical statement with regards to rumors appointment of a new national secretary. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman has an update.
Behind me is an array of cameras, of reporters waiting patiently for the acting national chairman of the ruling APC to come out from the closed-door sessions and, of course, brief the journalists on what has transpired today. As he consolidates on his grip of the party's soul, with a number of activities taking place, Nigerians are anxiously waiting to get every available next move by this political party, which is currently the ruling party of the nation, Nigeria.
I just read it in one of the major newspapers now that Governor Buni actually transferred a letter to you when he was traveling.
I haven't seen it. You saw it on social media?
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet.
What about the appointment of new secretary? We learn that you have appointed new secretary among the caretaker committees.
It hasn't been discussed. It wasn't on the agenda for today's meeting.
Okay. Will you likely to do that?
Probably, but it hasn't been discussed yet.
We also learned that you have not sent letter for the National Convention to INEC.
It has been sent.
When, sir?
Convention is 26, right?
We have 20.
No, the letter has been sent already.
Okay.
That was the acting national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abubakar Sani Bello, making certain clarifications with regards to issues that affect, the leadership crisis that has been rocking the party. He did say that there hasn't been much, to talk about. But then, from his comments, it is clearly indicating that he has been consolidating, right from day one he takes charge of the party. He said, the convention timeline has also been sent to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Again, he wouldn't want to speak on some speculations on the social media with regards to appointment of a new national secretary. From the headquarters of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, Independent National Electoral Commission Resident Commissioner in Adamawa State, Kasim Gaidam, says the Commission has registered a total of 111,762 voters across the 21 local government areas of the state under the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise, which commenced on 28th June last year. Gaidam said this while briefing newsmen on the activities ahead of the 2023 general elections. The report.
As the countdown to the 2023 general elections intensify, the nation's electoral body, the Independent National Electoral Commission, in line with its constitutional mandate of conducting the registration of persons qualified to vote, prepare, maintain, and revise the register of voters, is here providing an update on the continuous voter registration exercise embarked upon since June the 28th last year in Adamawa. Resident Electoral Commissioner INEC Adamawa State, Kasim Gaidam, said the Commission has so far registered a total of 111,762 voters across the 21 local government areas of Adamawa State as at March 7th, 2022.
For the 2023 general elections are gathering momentum also here in Adamawa State. And this was kicked off in earnest as indicated above on the 28th of June with the commencement of the continuous voter registration exercise, first online and later on the 19th of July 2021 in person at the state office and INEC offices across the 21 local government areas of the state. As at 7th March 2022, a total of 111 online registrants were recorded, with 83,395,000 having completed their registration. Other milestones recorded include 2,983 reviews, 9,512 information updates, 14,000 transfers, 3,427 PVC collections, 5,147 card loss, 2,032 defense cards for replacements, and 454 special registration for people with disability.
And Chairman of the Committee of Pro-Chancellors of State-Owned Universities in Nigeria, COPSUN, Yusuf Ali, says the way the federal government is negotiating with Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, without involving COPSUN is not abnormal. Briefing journalists in Oshogbo on Thursday on the activities lineup for the COPSUN 6th Biennial Conference billed to hold in Oshogbo, Osun State, Ali appealed to ASU to end its ongoing strike. He insisted that no work, no pay law should be applied on workers that embarked on strike. He speaks to Hamid Oyegbade on the sidelines of the briefing.
The COPSUN, to which in which I am the chairman, has taken a position that it is not normal that a body like COPSUN with over 50 universities, the number of state universities is larger than the number of federal universities in Nigeria. But agreements will be reached between the federal government and the unions in the university system. COPSUN will not be a part of it, but people expect the COPSUN members to be bound. It's not an ideal thing to do. I can tell you that we are already engaging with the owners of the state universities to see that this issue is resolved at the highest level of government in Nigeria. And I think that is the point that we are trying to work on as a group. It's an abnormality which we think should be looked into.
And other youth empowerment initiative wants Kaduna State government to upgrade Kachia and Kufana chiefdoms to first-class and second-class status. The youth groups from the chiefdoms at a press briefing in Kaduna say insecurity has destroyed their economy that is largely agrarian, and bandits pay youth to work on their farm. The report.
Since the demise of Agwan Adara, a first-class chief killed by bandits, no chief has been appointed to replace the late chief. The youth said the state government plan to create additional chiefdom is apt, but want the government to maintain first-class status for Kachia chiefdoms.
We want to commend the giant effort of His Excellency in his bid to cope the menace of the banditry activities as the first governor in Nigeria, to recommend a severe punishment to any apprehended bandit all over the country. At this junction, we wish to solicit His Excellency to graciously upgrade the status of Agom Kachia being the parent chiefdom and Kufana chiefdom with a first class and a second class title respectively, and also ensure that Adara men ascend the throne, God's willing.
Adara communities in Kachia, Chikum and Kagarko local government areas in Kaduna State are among communities suffering terrorist attacks where many communities have been displaced. The group say one way to tackle insecurity is to engage the youth, as many of them could be easily conscripted by the bandits.
The major negative effect this insecurity has brought to us is low income, youth restiveness. You know, we are predominantly agrarian settlement. We do a lot of farmland. Today you cannot go there. They give you notice. The bandits give notice. You have to give them notice. You want to go to your farm. They give you, go there only 1 hour. Today they engage our youth to go and farm for them and pay them stipends. If you take from Tashan Iche, you follow that road to Kaso, Kujeni, Kekwari 1, Kekwari 2, Kaku, down to regional forest. They are taking over those places. Nothing is happening there. So we still feel if this government engage us very well, one way or the other, that will also reduce.
The group further called on all Adara sons in the state and beyond to remain law-abiding and unite themselves for meaningful development.
And many passengers are feared dead in multiple crashes along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. A spokesperson of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Ogun Command, Florence Okbe, confirmed the incident on Thursday in a terse statement. She said the incident involved 2 vehicles and a fuel tanker, which went up in flames around the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministry Prayer City, outward section of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is notorious for road crashes, as it has claimed at least 30 lives this year. You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break, Delta Community Oil Company lock horns. This and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. Now look at our top stories. 20 insurgents have been killed and 5 gun trucks were intercepted by Cameroonian troops at the border crossing into Nigeria. A federal high court in Abuja has fixed April 7th for hearing of the suit seeking the removal of Governor Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, over his defection. And now moving on to other stories, the human eye is a delicate and special organ of the human body that requires proper care. To do this, you are advised to have regular screening to prevent avoidable blinding eye conditions. Now, as the world commemorates Glaucoma Week, State House Hospital ophthalmologists give back to the society by conducting free eye screening and creating awareness about glaucoma disease. Zainab Bala now reports.
Upon arrival at the hospital reception, you see a visual on the TV screen telling you what glaucoma is.
From your eye to your brain. Glaucoma typically happens when the fluid in your eye does not drain as it should.
The theme for World Glaucoma Week 2022 is "The world is bright, save your sight," echoing the need to raise awareness on why we need to care for the eyes to prevent vision impairment and irreversible blindness caused by glaucoma and other blinding eye conditions. This year, several ophthalmologists in hospitals within the capital city are conducting free eye screening. We visited the State House Hospital, where we saw a number of people take advantage of the gesture to have their eyes checked.
Glaucoma is a group of eye diseases that cause blindness, and the blindness is irreversible. Now, the cause of glaucoma, as it were, is largely unknown. However, there are risk factors, and one of them, a very crucial one, is raised intraocular pressures. That's the raised pressures inside the eye. But also there are people who don't have high pressures, and they also are going blind from glaucoma. I want to say an important thing about glaucoma is that it occurs in both eyes, and it progresses and causes irreversible blindness. If somebody is blind from glaucoma, there isn't anything you can do about it, unlike some other eye diseases like cataract, in which the person is blind, but after surgery the person sees again. One of the things we notice about such patients are that they don't see colors very well. The colors appear faded. Things are blurred, faded colors. They don't see red as red. It's like faded red. So we are saying that we want to let people know, create awareness about glaucoma, that you don't need to find yourself in that stage. The world is bright. Save your sight. Go get your eyes screened for glaucoma. And if by chance you're screened and it's found that you have glaucoma, it's not the end of the world. Wherever, whatever stage the person is, the person can be managed and the rate of blindness can be reduced drastically. And so the message we are sending out about saving your sight because the world is bright is because we want to get people tested and detected early.
A lot of the patients here have been diagnosed with other eye conditions, but glaucoma cases are minimal. Like this man here, who is over 40 and cannot see the letters displayed on the screen from a distance. She, on the other hand, has no problems at all.
I am here because of a very good reason, actually. Well, the least I know about health, it doesn't just break down. It starts and starts and starts, and when we don't pay attention, it breaks down. So I'm here to just check to be sure that I'm fine. Prevention is better than care, you know. And two, if there is any underlying disease already, so I can just go and have it checked out and treated before it breaks down.
As a human being without eye, there is nothing you can do. Yes, eye is one of the important organs of human life. Yes.
I'm a chef, you know, always with a flame, so I need to check my eyes regularly so that I will be fit. And my eyesight is so important to me. The reason I take advantage of this free eye screening is that some hospital, you need to pay when you go there. It's not going to be free. So when we see any opportunity like this, we take the advantage so that we'll not be able to spend much.
Eye care providers have advised Nigerians to have regular eye checks to detect early eye conditions to prevent total blindness. Ophthalmologists here are excited to celebrate this week.
The world is bright. Save your sight.
Zainab Bala, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And still talking health, the Federal Ministry of Health and Global Partnership, dedicated to improving access to family planning information services, launched new family planning commitments and reproductive health documents to serve the next decade. The FP 2030 commitment is to scale up actions that will fast-track efforts at achieving a national family planning target of 27% by the year 2030, with high-quality sexual and reproductive health services. The report.
Global partners and stakeholders of the Ministry of Health converged to engender a robust interaction for the advancement of family planning and birth spacing in Nigeria. Delivering the keynote address, the Minister of Health, Osagie Hanire, reiterated the country's commitment towards increasing access to family planning services.
The realization of this major aspiration requires building on the gains recorded under the Millennium Development Goals and the FP 2020 initiative. This informed the decision to embrace the FP 2030 partnership agenda, which resulted in articulation of the set of commitments that we are about to launch. The Federal Ministry of Health ensured an inclusive, broad participation of stakeholders, including participation of government ministries and agencies at both national and subnational levels.
Representatives of global partners such as USAID, Pathfinder International, MacArthur Foundation, among others present physically and virtually at the launch, lent their organizations continued support to achieve the Nigeria's national planning target of 27% by the year 2030.
Our approach focuses on bringing services closer to beneficiaries as part of our support to the government, improving access to family planning services, and also emphasizing the needs of adolescents and young people who make up over a third of the population in Nigeria. These are all in line with the FP 2030 agenda goals of reaching women and girls everywhere. The recommitment of the government of Nigeria provides an opportunity to partner with key stakeholders, including USAID, the private sector, and to address these challenges. And we look forward to a successful launch of Nigeria's Family Planning 2030 Commitment Goals.
On behalf of Pathfinder International, I would like to reiterate our support and our commitment to the improved access and quality of sexual and reproductive health services in Nigeria. For over 55 years, we have been supporting the government at the national and subnational levels to increase access and quality of reproductive health services, and we all know that family planning is the main vein of national development and sustainable development.
Other speakers applauded the integration of policies, noting that they are key areas in eradicating unsafe reproductive health practices among women and services rendered by healthcare facilities.
So on behalf of the agency, we pledge our commitment. We are very loyal and will continue to serve and make sure that the products and the use of this document is maintained. We are also aware of the gaps so far, and we want to assure that those gaps will be bridged, will be covered. We pledge and pray for stronger collaboration with our parent ministry and our partners.
Our country is in a demographic crisis, and that will urge us to be able to do what we have to do, like paying the cost and then doing what we have said we will do. Finally, I would like to commend the Federal Ministry of Health for the inclusive nature in making sure that this document was done from beginning till now.
The renewed commitments by government, civil society organizations, multilateral organizations, donors, and the private sector is fundamental in achieving population management and essential for harnessing of demographic dividend, galvanizing the next decade of progress of family planning in the country.
Meanwhile, the Katsina State government has reiterated its commitment to providing effective healthcare and education. Consequently, the state government says its doors are open for investors to establish private healthcare institutions. Secretary to the state government, Dr. Mustafa Inuwa, called on new nursing students of Cherish Nursing and Midwifery Katsina to study hard and contribute to the society. Jamila Mabai has more.
Katsina State government has emphasized the importance and role nurses play in the society.
The Provost,
the Secretary to the State government, Dr. Mustafa Inuwa, said Katsina State government don't compromise when it comes to issues of health and education.
I hope you understand the critical position your profession is in the society. You are going to deal with issues that concern life of the people you will come across with in your various places of work. That is why as government, we don't compromise when it comes to issue of health, when it comes to issue of education.
For the good governance of the college.
He made these comments during the matriculation ceremony for Trist School of Nursing and Midwifery, Katsina. He prayed for the late founder, Abba Sayyidi Ruma, whom to him was a friend, a colleague under the late former president Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. He described the late Ruma as a person of commitment, determination, and full of life.
I met Abba as a student in Usman Ambodo University, Sokoto, when I joined there as a lecturer. We also served together under the late Yar'Adua's government. I know his commitment. I know his zeal, I know his determination. Abba was full of life to bring development to his immediate and larger communities.
The school provost, Abubakar Halliru Kankia, said a total of 286 students were matriculated. He called on the students to abide by the laws of the school. Highlights of the occasion were presentation of awards to deserving students and posthumous award to the family of late Abba Ruma. Some of the students said they are determined and can't wait to excel in their chosen fields.
I want to become a God-fearing nurse, holistic nurse that's able to give care to community as a whole.
Jamila Mobile, Trust TV News, Katsina.
And now to the environment, where an oil spill in 9 agrarian communities in Delta State from wellheads being operated by an indigenous oil firm is agitating minds of residents of the areas. The spill occurred last week Thursday and has reportedly led to the outbreak of waterborne skin diseases in the various communities. One of which communities that was affected by the oil spill, the villagers say that the spill has grounded economic activities in the area since the river remains their only source of livelihood. The report.
Christopher Obule, chairman of Amuokpopo, Eleme community in Sapele local government area of Delta State, who led the protesters, said crude oil and natural gas have been pumping into the river of the affected communities and nearby fishing settlements for over a week. Yet, the company has abandoned their corporate responsibilities in disaster management. While lamenting the havoc caused to various communities, Obule said some of their children who were ignorant of the spill, drank the polluted water, had to be rushed to the hospital, while others developed skin diseases.
All this small net where we take they do fishing, if you go put the net, the good oil, nothing they happen. So everybody where they here now hungry now, everybody caught them. Some of our children self, the water still, if you come here now, if government send people come out, they will see what they happen for. It may not be say would they lie against any company where be say they around us here. We not they lie against any company.
Also speaking, councillor representing Ward 18 in the council, Sam Azu, called on government at all levels as well as other well-meaning individuals and organizations to prevail on the oil company to stop the spill, lamenting that it has grounded economic activities in the areas for over a week.
This wellhead is Amokpo River, and the Amokpo are the people that are passing through the pains of everything that comes out of the wellhead. I am using this medium to appeal to the state governor to please prevail on corn oil, as this river is the only source of our livelihood here and other farming activities.
While displaying their fishing nets, cages, hooks among others soaked in crude oil with rotten fishes killed by the spill, the people said if no urgent attention is taken by the company to ameliorate their plight, there is possibility of the entire community being wiped out by the waterborne and skin diseases. The affected communities include Amuokpokpo Elume, Oloho, Elume Main Town, Okpelagbra, Ekoko, Orogo, Ijekporo, Mereje, Iriama, all both in Sapele and Okpe local government areas of the state.
And a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute for Securities and Investments aimed at boosting investor confidence has passed second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, sponsored by Representative Babangida Ibrahim, speaks to, among other things, expand the scope of the charter and enable audit of financial transactions. The previous act, enacted 30 years ago, is not in tune with current realities, a major reason why the sponsor of the bill said the move is in line with the policy of ease of doing business. The House commenced legislative consideration to enhance optimal performance of the capital market.
Globally, emphasis is being made as a vehicle for improving economy of any nation. And if you don't have a well-trained professionals within the capital market, there may be a lot of violations. The investors' confidence may be lost, especially foreign investors. Because as a result of incompetency of operators, there's likely to be so many damages, or somebody can lose his investments as a result of incompetency of somebody. So the role of the institute is to train all those professionals working within the capital market and to ensure that the ethic of the profession is maintained.
You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. The news continues after this break. Stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back to Trust TV News Hour. Nigeria government says it has implemented over 160 reforms on the ease of doing business in the country. It says this is achieved by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC. Since its establishment, Special Advisor to the President on Ease of Doing Business and Secretary of the PEBEC, Jumoke Oduole, said this during a technical deep dive session on the subnational report methodology in Abuja, adding that the government had also developed a homegrown Ease of Doing Business report following the discontinuation of the annual World Bank report. She says collaboration and coordination remain key factors in achieving ease of doing business in the country.
Has been ongoing since 2017, where the NEC approved the collaboration with the PEBEC and replicating the subnational ease of doing business at the subnational level. What that means is that each state has an ease of doing business council. Sometimes it's chaired by the governor, like Nasarawa, Sokoto. Sometimes it's chaired by the deputy governor, like Kaduna State. Sometimes it's chaired by the secretary to the government or the head of service. And then each state has a reform champion. And in here, in this technical deep dive, is the reform champions from all the states, partnering with their colleagues at the federal level to talk about how we can improve the business climate in Nigeria. As you know, no business is domiciled at the federal government. Every business has their location, their head office in one of the states or the FCT. So with this collaboration, we're making sure that all the issues that MSMEs have told PEBEC over the last almost 6 years are replicated across state governments. So the PEBEC on its own has implemented over 160 reforms. You know PEBEC was 5, you have all the information. But we've been partnering with the subnational level since 2017. The World Bank used to have a report, but it's no longer. But we have our own Nigerian homegrown ease of doing business report. The first iteration, the baseline, was done last year. It was released in March and the rankings were released in June. As you know, Gombe topped, Sokoto was second, Akwa Ibom was fourth, on and on like that. So now we're getting ready for the second iteration of the report, and colleagues want to know more about the methodology. States are also going to have a right of reply from this second edition onwards. So this is like a discussion and a training on how states are going to get to position themselves. Now, what is important is the reforms themselves and how they impact on private sector.
And prices of several commodities have steadily risen, affecting business all over. The latest product to join the league is diesel. Chamunda Beng speaks to oil industry players to find out why the price of diesel that enjoys no subsidy will go up. The report.
The price of automotive gas oil, also known as diesel, has soared by almost 160% in 1 year, going from 220 to 240 naira in March last year to 540 to 517 naira per litre, and the cost has remained since then. However, in the last 24 hours, the cost has gone up to 620 naira per litre. National Vice President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, Abubakar Megandi, speaks on the trigger behind the exponential increase in the cost of diesel.
The price of diesel has gone higher is because already all Nigerians, they know diesel is being deregulated. So it depends on the prevailing market price. And as we are now, everybody knows that the price of the crude oil has changed. Before, crude oil price is $80 per barrel, but now rise to 130 per barrel. And this commodity gas, we normally obtain it through the crude oil. So since the price of the crude oil has changed, automatically the price of the diesel too must change. That is why you have seen that sudden change between 420 to 520, and today is 620 naira per liter. Crude oil is getting higher. Automatically the price of the diesel too will go higher because of the exchange rate. Again, you know, the value of naira is down, it's a little bit down. It's 500 and something per $1. So all this contributed to the cost of the diesel. Because we in Nigeria, we are not producing diesel. Most of our refineries, they are not functioning. We highly depend on the importation. And this importation, when it was being imported, it depends on the price of the crude oil. So automatically, the price has to be higher. And we two marketers were not happy the way the price is going up, because we know it may affect the teeming population of Nigerians. They will suffer about it. But we are still advising the government to create another way of reducing the hardship for the diesel. Because if you know, most of the trucks, they use diesel. Those trucks that normally bring food items and other important commodities, they use diesel. The same thing, even the trucks that we normally use to carry fuel, that is PMS, they use diesel. And in some houses and the rest of them, all these generators and other factories and other big industries, they all use diesel. So actually we are appealing to the government to create another way of subsidizing this diesel, because if the things continue like that, definitely people will suffer. So if the masses are suffering, then the government has to intervene, no matter how much it will cost. Because sincerely speaking, people are suffering, because we normally sell this product in our various filling stations, and we have been hearing a lot of complaints from the motorists that the product is very cost. So actually there is low demand now. people are not patronizing the way they have been patronizing before because the commodity is very cost. So actually it's one of the factors. Our market has seriously reduced drastically, where we are supposed to sell maybe 10,000 liters per day. At present now we cannot be able to sell 5,000 liters. So it's affecting our business, we too, business.
According to the vice president of IPMAN, a further increase in the next 24 hours is still a strong possibility. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And we will stay with Chamun Dabeng for more business news.
Zenith Bank has announced the temporary suspension in the usage of its Naira card for international transactions and has also cut spending limits for web transactions. Due to the scarcity of foreign exchange, Zenith Bank has also made a decision to reduce the monthly spend limit for international web transactions by 80%. Part of the statement released by the Tier 1 lender stated that the monthly card international spend limit for web transactions has been reviewed from $100 to $20, stating that the review is in response to today's economic realities. The bank also directed account holders who need a higher international spend limit to approach its branch and request for a foreign currency debit or prepaid card, which are available in US dollar, pounds, or euro variants. United Arab Emirates on Thursday reaffirmed its commitment to OPEC Plus alliance agreements, a day after an envoy said it would urge the oil cartel to boost output. During last week's OPEC Plus meeting, the 13 members of the Saudi-led OPEC group and their 10 allies, including Russia, agreed to hold firm on plans to stick to existing output targets through April. A surge in prices and supply fears following Russia's invasion of Ukraine have led to calls for the organization of the petroleum exporting countries to increase output. The OPEC Plus group plans to boost production by just 400,000 barrels a day in April, the same pace as in recent months. Several passengers aboard the Lagos-Ibadan train were left stranded on Thursday after the train ran out of diesel. According to the crew members, the train stopped moving because it had exhausted diesel. In the viral video shared online, the passengers were seen standing around while a barrel of diesel was pushed to refill the underbelly of the train and save the day. The development comes amidst the exponential rise in the cost of diesel. Spokesperson of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, Mahmoud Yakubu, said he was not aware of the situation. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
And now to foreign news, where Indonesian authorities say over 250 people are forced to flee their homes after Mount Merapi erupted on Thursday. Head of Indonesia's National Disaster Management and Mitigation Agency, Abdul Muhari, says the volcano, one of the most active in the world, erupted multiple times overnight, spewing gas, volcanic ash and rocks that flowed over 5 kilometers down its slopes. Residents have been told to steer clear of an area spanning a 7-kilometer radius surrounding Merapi's crater, over warnings of lava and airborne volcanic material. Mount Merapi is on its second highest alert level since November 2020 after showing renewed activity. Its last major eruption in 2010 killed more than 300 people and forced the evacuation of around 280,000 residents from surrounding areas. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba says there is no progress on achieving a ceasefire in talks on Thursday with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. The first high-level talks between the two countries since Moscow invaded its neighbor. Speaking after the talks in southern Turkey, Kuleba told a news conference that the most difficult situation was in the Ukrainian city of Mariupol and that Lavrov did not commit to a humanitarian corridor there. The United Kingdom has seized all assets of Chelsea FC owner Roman Abramovich. He is one of 7 oligarchs hit with fresh sanctions, including asset freezes and travel bans over Russian invasion of Ukraine. Also affected are billionaires Igor Sechin and Oleg Deripaska, both seen as allies of Vladimir Putin. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said there can be no safe havens for those who have supported the invasion. Abramovich, who is 55, is alleged to have strong ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin, which he has denied. But the government believes Abramovich, who has an estimated net worth of £9.4 billion, is one of the few oligarchs from the 1990s to maintain prominence under Putin. Under the sanctions, Chelsea will operate as a club with a special charity license. The proposed sale of the club by Abramovich has also been stopped, but the club will not be able to sell new tickets for games or sign new players. We will now join Adeni Ajishafe for more sports news.
Nigeria's under-20 women's team Falconets arrived Senegalese capital Dakar on Wednesday ahead of 2022 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup final round qualifier against Senegal on Saturday. Coach Chris Danjuma list includes goalkeeper Monle Yono, captain Oluwatosin Dimeyin, defenders Oshobukola Omowumi, Oluchi Ohagbelem, Jumoke Alani, midfielders Esther Oyenezide and Adoyena, forwards Messi Doko, Joy, Jerry and Blessy Okwe among others. Saturday's clash at Stade La Dior in ties will kick off 5:30 p.m. Nigeria, two-time World Cup runners-up, have scored 18 goals in 5 matches in the qualifying series. And in the NBA, Kyrie Irving scored a season-high 50 points as Brooklyn Nets ended a 4-game losing run with a 132-121 win away to Charlotte Hornets. Irving landed 9 of his 12 three-point attempts. Elsewhere, Giannis Antetokounmpo 39 points, Chris Middleton 25 points and 9 assists for Milwaukee Bucks in 142 against 115 at Oklahoma City Thunder. A 5th successive win for the Bucks to be Eastern Conference informed team. DeAndre Ayton 21 points and 19 rebounds as Phoenix Suns edged Orlando Magic 102-99. Memphis Grizzlies dominated New Orleans Pelicans 132-111. Jay Moran 24 points for Grizzlies with teammates Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr. having 22 points each. That's sport news. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. Don't forget, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and of course follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.